Tape www.suividécoleausénégal.com. À École au Sénégal, c'est facile, tu n'as qu'à te connecter. Tape École au Sénégal, les leçons sont beaucoup plus détaillées.
Hi everybody, welcome back to École au Sénégal. Today we are going to explore a new topic which deals with adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency are adverbs that indicate at which rate we do things, at which rate things happen, at which rate things occur. How often do you do something? How often something happens? For example, I go to the cinema every Sunday, or I go to church every Sunday. Every now and then I go for a jog. Okay, so today we're going to have a look at how to use adverbs of frequency. The most common ones are usually, often, some people can say often, both forms are correct. You can't always, never, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, seldom, every week, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a month, twice a year, 4 times a week. So, how often do you do things? Every now and then, every so often, okay? So, that's our topic for the day. If we look at the board, there are words, adverbs we can see there are words that are used to describe verbs, adverbs, and adjectives. Okay? They also describe when or how something is done. When is something done? So they describe when something is done or how something is done. Okay? So there are 2 types of adverbs of frequency. Some of them are indefinite, some of them are definite. Okay? So indefinite and definite types of adverbs of frequency, depending on the position they have in a sentence, depends on where they are in a sentence, or before the main clause, or after the main clause, before the verb, or after the verb. Okay? So, a definite adverb of frequency, they normally occur, they normally come, they normally happen, they occur, okay? They normally happen, they occur at the beginning of a sentence, okay? Or at the end of the sentence. They can be either at the beginning or at the end of a sentence. So, the common ones, the most common ones, the well-known ones are, okay, weekly, on a weekly basis, okay? Some newspapers are only published on a weekly basis, okay? The periodicals, okay? C'est un hebdomadaire, that we say in French, okay? A weekly newspaper, for example, okay? It appears, it's published every week, once a week, okay? It's a weekly newspaper, okay? Monthly, okay? Monthly, okay, it could be as well every month. Every month, okay? Un mensuel. In French, they would say a weekly, a daily. A daily, un quotidien. A weekly, un hebdomadaire. A monthly, un mensuel. So it depends, okay? So weekly, monthly, and yearly, annuellement, every year, every week, every month, every day. So the rate at which something is occurring, the rate at which something happens, okay, or how it happens as well, okay. So other observable frequency are once a month, okay, once a month, once every month, okay, twice a month, okay, every month. Once a month and every month is the same, really. Once the newspaper appears, comes, is published once a month, okay, or every month, and every other month. Oh. When something is published every other month, means every couple of months, okay. So if, for example, it is published in January, the next issue will come out February, March, okay? When I say once every other month, means once every couple of months, okay? Next, we get the once a month, okay? Every month and every other month, okay? Tous les 2 mois. In each one, months can be with hour, day, week, or year. So the same way we say every month, we can say every day, okay? We can say every week, okay? Every year, okay? Or every hour. You can also say on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. I go for a checkup to the doctors on a yearly basis. Every year I go for a general checkup. Some people go on a quarterly basis. When I say a quarter means every 6 months, okay? Every 3 months, quarterly, okay? Quarterly. Okay, so it could be the same way you say once a month, every month, you can say every week, okay, every day, okay, every hour, every day, every week, or every year, okay, daily, weekly, hourly, daily, weekly, and yearly, okay. Now, any exact number of times that happened in a given period of times, okay? Every exact number of times, okay, something happens in a period of time, okay? Now you got twice a week. Then you say once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, okay, 4 times a week, okay. So we have here then twice a week, twice a year, 3 times a month, 4 times a year, once every 5 years, okay, once every 5 years, and so on, okay. Now, example, we have every day, some employees go out for lunch. Every day, some employees go out for lunch. The employees go out for lunch on a daily basis, okay. Next, payrolls must be done every week. Some people are paid on a weekly basis. You get your payroll, your paycheck, okay? Your wages. You can be paid on a weekly basis. You can be paid on a monthly basis. You can be paid on a yearly basis. It depends how your wages, your salary is calculated, okay? So you get payroll, you get some wages, you get a salary, okay? But I think that salaries are more used when they are calculated on a yearly basis. When you calculate someone's wages on a yearly basis, you talk about a salary, okay? Otherwise, you talk about some wages, okay? My payroll, your payroll weekly, or monthly, yearly, okay? Next, every week, okay? The sales, examples, okay? We got, for example, the sales manager gets email hourly. What is a sales manager? A sales manager is responsible for all the goods that are sold, okay? And is also responsible for the orders, okay? For ordering the goods, okay? Renewing the orders, okay? And is responsible for how many goods have been sold every week, how many goods were sold last month. So that's a sales manager, le responsable, chargé des ventes, okay? That's a sales manager. Now, the sales manager gets email hourly. Every hour, the sales manager receives an email on his computer, okay? That keeps him updated. It keeps him updated on how many items have been sold on a particular type of product. For example, if he sells computers, today, every hour, he's got an update email that's coming. So on an hourly basis, he gets emails that allows him to keep an eye, he keeps monitoring, okay, the sales, okay? That's his job, really. Then the sales manager gets email hourly. Every hour he gets an email coming on his computer. Now, adverbs of indefinite frequencies. Now you got adverbs of definite frequency, and some of them are of indefinite frequency. Now, adverbs of indefinite frequency, you got always, means in French, toujours. They're normally placed before the verb. I always do something. I always have breakfast at 7 or before I go to work. I always have breakfast, okay? Then you put always plus verb. I always do something. I always go somewhere, okay? Always plus verb. So this indefinite adverb of frequency are normally placed before the verb, okay? Next you get I usually. Always means toujours, usually means d'habitude, okay? I usually wake up late on Sundays. But I have a lie-in, really. I wake up early on weekdays from Monday to Friday, but on Saturdays and on Sundays, I tend to stay a bit longer in bed. Even though I'm up, I'm awake, but I don't get out of bed until maybe 9 o'clock to have a lie-in, okay? You stay, what they call in French, faire la grasse matinée. Today is Saturday, I'm having a lie-in. I might even have breakfast in bed, okay? I usually have breakfast in bed at weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays, okay? Which is a luxury, really. Next, we got usually. Then you got never. I never eat out. I usually eat in. I usually cook at home, or maybe I go, maybe I order maybe a takeaway, and it's being delivered in my house, okay? I don't usually eat out. I never eat out. By takeaways, fast food or street food, not really. I tend to avoid eating out, okay? I never eat out. I always eat in, okay? It's safer. I often, always, toujours, usually, d'habitude, never, jamais. Alors, never, and then you got often, souvent. I often watch the news before I go to work. souvent, je regarde les infos avant d'aller au travail. Des fois, je saute. Il m'arrive I might not do it sometimes, but most of the time, often, souvent. Most of the time, I watch the news. I often watch the news before going to work. Okay? That's often. Then you got very often. Oh, very often is more frequent than often. Often means souvent, but very often, mais très souvent. Donc, la fréquence est plus élevée. Now, we can have a scale of 100%, okay? If often is 80%, very often will be 90%, okay?
Tape www.suividecolosénégal.com